Many of you have seen this movie, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. I want to put focus on this guy right here. His real name is Smeagol, but he goes by Gollum. Now, Smeagol used to be an elf or a hobbit or something, essentially like a human-looking thing. And then he inherited the Ring of Power, which is an allegorical thing for this thing that essentially, in this world, literally gave you power over the world. It gave you immortal life. It gave you a lot of things, right? And he killed his best friend to inherit it. So essentially, he looked something like this when he was more of a human, okay? And then over the course of years, he turned into this. He killed his best friend, and then he took the ring, and then he just sort of hid in a cave with it, and he devolved. He went from being young and healthy and having nice features to essentially being this green gangrel thing, which is completely bent and obsessed with the ring. He sat in a cave and avoided sunlight. His eyes grew bigger so he could see in the dark. He'd catch fish and eat them with his hands. He'd just learn how to run on rocks and do all sorts of like mountain climbing things, which are not natural for someone like him, who he would have been before. And essentially his entire character devolved out of greed. His character, his physical being, everything. Now, we're not immune from this, right? He's a physical representation of essentially what can happen to any of us when we get too obsessed with something, some object of desire, some possession we hope to attain, some degree of power we want to attain, whatever it may be, some person, some thing, some idea about ourselves, some status we want to attain, whatever it may be. I don't deny the value of having a goal and working very hard towards it. I absolutely believe in that. But with regard to allowing it to run and dominate and take over every aspect of a person's life to the point that you devolve into that needs to be watched out for and looked at, and you have to be wary of that, because it's difficult to see when you're on a slippery slope with regard to an addiction. Let's say you smoke cigarettes. Well, it starts with 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then it just continues. And then it goes up to a pack a day, 2 packs a day. It can go up to anything, really. And you always need more in order to get that same feeling. And then it's not a matter of feeling good. It's a matter of not feeling bad, right? So this Smeagol Gollum character, he turned into Gollum because, or he got the name Gollum because he'd just be in his cave and he'd make this sound with his throat, Gollum, Gollum. And he loses the ring eventually, and then he ends up following these people who find it years later, and he accompanies Frodo and Sam on their journey. And long story short, he goes through these schizophrenic battles where there's the good side of him, which is like, oh, Smeagol wants to help the hobbits. He loves the hobbits. He's Smeagol is good. He wouldn't hurt anybody. He loves his master, Frodo. He loves all these things, right? And then there's a bad side of him, like, you're gonna burn them, you're gonna kill them, and the ring will be ours, right? He looks at the lake, he looks at his own reflection, he has this conversation with himself, right? And again, there's different sides to people, right? We all have this going on within us, right? You've seen that thing of like, you've got like the angel on one shoulder, you've got the devil on the other shoulder, right? Each of them telling you different things, right? If you're Luke in Star Wars, you have Yoda telling you to not take the quick and easy path, not to operate out of fear. Then you have Vader, on the other hand, saying, only your hatred can destroy me, right? Who are you going to listen to? It's difficult, right? It's seductive to fall into hate. It's seductive to fall into greed. It's seductive to fall into all these things that make you feel this false sense of safety, of power. Those things can devour you and again, turn you from a human-looking thing into this. It's fictional, of course, but it happens in real life in ways that are not as obvious. And that's the trick. The fact that it's not so obvious. It happens psychologically, and a person can become a monster. So beware, be aware of the true motivations. To thine own self be true. Know thyself. Be aware of what's going on inside. What is driving you? And know that no matter how entrenched, how immersed you may be, it can be broken out of. Definitely. If you're aware of it and you're willing, you can break out of anything. There may be some life changes that may happen down the line. But don't think about that now. Just think about, is what I'm doing right? Ask your conscience. Ask yourself. And be true in the answer. And if the answer is no, just be aware of that. In time, the more truth that comes into your soul, into your being, the more everything will fall away. Some active steps need to be taken. Some of it happens naturally. But if you know that the answer is no, what I'm doing is not right. If you say, is what I'm doing right, and you know the answer is no, and you're scared of the implications that might have, don't think ahead. Just ask yourself right now, is what I'm doing right? Is this right? Right now. Don't worry about the future. Because if you think that it might force you to change your life or something and you're scared of that, you're going to lie. You're going to say, yes, this is right. You're going to falsely defend it. Yes, this is right. The ring is good. I love the ring. I should have the ring. This is right. Because you don't want to give up the ring. No one does. You have to look very closely into the present at this very moment. Is what I'm doing right? Should I have the ring? And the answer is no. If that is the right answer, it's up to you to figure it out. And this has nothing to do with giving things away or renouncing, whatever you have or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with, your state of consciousness, your state of awareness, your relationship with the things that you have and what you're doing. Whether you're extremely rich and powerful or not. It's a matter of working your insides so that they can be an expression of beauty, not this, which is essentially the end goal of what happens in a life that's consumed by greed or lust for power or fear. So what happens in The Lord of the Rings? Basically, Smeagol, Gollum, has this battle ongoing the entire time. And at the end of the story, when Frodo's about to throw the ring in the fire, which is the whole point of the three movies, to destroy it for good, Frodo, the most good person in the land, takes the ring for himself. After all that, after all the people who died, after all the armies and battles that were fought in the meanwhile to give Frodo passage, after all this hell that he went through to get to that mountain, he can't throw the ring away. After everything he went through, all the fear he encountered, all the near-death experiences, he has this ring which can solve all his problems. And it talks to him. Throw me away. I can save you. I can give you everything you want. Put me on. Try me out. Frodo turns around to Sam. The ring is mine. He puts it on. And if it weren't for Gollum, actually, Gollum with all of his lust for the ring comes and fights with Frodo, bites his finger off, and then in the fight essentially falls into the lava. And he is so happy as soon as he gets the ring. He is jumping. Yes! Like jumping in a sick glee. A minute later, he gets knocked off. And then as he falls into the lava, his feet go first and his feet melt away, right? What does he do? He keeps the ring at the top of his hand. And then his chest goes in, his arm goes in, his head goes in. He's just staring at the ring. And then his head gets melted and his hand is still there. Then that gets melted. Finally, the ring is melted. These forces are strong. Frodo couldn't do it. Gollum couldn't do it. The only cure to this is awareness. Awareness that you're greater than the things you lust for power for, over. You're greater than your own individual self also, your own individual identity in the world. Your consciousness is much more powerful than anything in the world. That awareness, that true awareness of your real essence, your real underlying life, can make you free as a bird. There's another character in the books earlier on, in the books, not in the movie. He didn't make him to the movie. His name is Tom Bombadil. And basically, like, Frodo and Sam go to his place, and they're like, hey, and he's this really free guy, lives in the forest, he talks to animals, you know, lives a really happy life. And then he's like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, what's that ring? Let me see it. And then he sees it. He just like throws it, like puts it here, puts it in his pocket. He doesn't care. He doesn't even notice what it is. Because it doesn't do anything for him. He's raised himself out of this whole crazy, desirous self. There is no evil in him. There's nothing within him to be corrupted. It's just a ring to him. Doesn't mean anything. Even if it does have all this power, he wouldn't even want it. He doesn't care. He just flips it like a coin. You know? So that's what's there on the other hand, and he's this strong, burly, vivacious, energetic guy full of happiness. Compare that to this. Is he eating a fish here? Is he hobbling over the ring? I can't tell. We can all be Tom Bombadil. We can all be Gollum. Chances are we're something in between. But we can all move more towards Tom Bombadil. I'm Jay Shaw. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please share it with other people who love Lord of the Rings, who love philosophy like this. Please subscribe to the channel. Please drop a like. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll keep making more content like it.